Welcome to, I'm not sure which podcast this will go under. It could be Sacred Mind, it could be whatever. It could be self-care one. And I think this is actually more self-care-y-ish. Self-abandonment. So, topic of the day, self-abandonment. We often, in our culture, are taught that, a lot of us, at least not all of us, that we need to abandon the self, to die to self. And I really think I stumbled across what I thought that meant the other day on one level, like which self we're supposed to die to. And that, that's the question, which self are we supposed to die to? Are we supposed to die to our entire self? Are we supposed to die to our bad self? What is it? And obviously we're supposed to die. I mean, to live a healthy, productive life, we are supposed to die or kill off certain elements of ourselves that will create a bad life for us, right? So we're supposed to not do the shit that's going to get us in trouble. We're supposed to not do the stuff that's going to get us put in jail. So dying to that part of ourselves, yes, absolutely. But I think a lot of us believe across the board that we're supposed to die to the entire self, and I totally disagree with this. Because when we die to the entire self, there's no purpose in living. There's no point. And what good is the world with a lot of us dead to ourselves and, entirely dead to ourselves so that we have no dreams, so we have no visions, so we have no hopes, so we have no purpose. And so I believe that we're supposed to die to, obviously, as much as we can, the darker parts of ourselves, but also I believe there is a purpose for those darker parts, as well. It's like, if you need to protect yourself, you need the darker parts of yourself to be able to do that. So it's not like we should completely die to that, but we should definitely die to the parts of ourselves that are self-sabotaging. And I believe that we should also die to the parts of ourselves that keep us from doing things that make us happy. Because a lot of us believe that our happiness is forbidden. It's like we're just supposed to be holy, we're not supposed to be happy, but I disagree with that. Because again, what is the purpose in life if we are just here to be miserable, non-living shells of human beings who don't do anything ever? You know what I mean? And that's literally the way I existed for a long time, thinking, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be bad. I'm not supposed to do anything. I'm supposed to just exist until I die. And, thankfully, I got shook out of that and into this new awareness of me, of who I'm supposed to be or who I want to be, and that stuff matters. A lot of people don't follow the mental path that I've followed, but a lot of people do. Where we're guilted because we exist. And that makes no sense because we exist because someone created us to exist. And also our story wouldn't be a great story if we didn't have some conflict and if we didn't have some ups and downs. That's what makes our story interesting and fascinating, and that's what creates resurrection for, our souls, is these little deaths that we die and that we get to come back from. And so I believe that we shouldn't sacrifice the self entirely, and really maybe even minimally just be selective in the parts that you're sacrificing instead of sacrificing the whole, to be obedient unto death. I just feel like we should be alive while we're here. I mean, even the Bible talks about having a life that's even more abundant, that Jesus gives us life, an abundant life. And so how do you reconcile the two? I think you reconcile the two by understanding that you're not killing off your entire self, that you're only killing off a select part of yourself. And I think too that the self that I realized that I think I was supposed to die to is the self that does sabotage me and the self that does hold me back. You know what I mean? And so there's that whole part of which self to kill off. And my whole jam is, at least part of my whole jam is self-care. And so if you are killing yourself off, if you're not supposed to exist, if you're supposed to be the living dead, then you don't have to engage in self-care. And that means you get to die younger. You get to die of a broken heart, you get to die of bad health or whatever, because, you don't have to bother with it. But honestly, who does that benefit? Does that benefit your grandkids? Does that benefit your family? Who does it benefit that you die an early death because you refuse to take care of yourself, because you're here to suffer? You're not here to suffer. Suffering is a part of this life, but that is not your purpose in this life. Yes, we learn from suffering. We learn a lot from suffering, but in the suffering, we have to be resurrected into this newness, into this new life, and it's partly in order to give others hope and to give ourselves hope, maybe of a future resurrection, maybe of this great resurrection. I don't know, but I believe that we shouldn't choose death while we're here, not in the way that we think we should. We shouldn't just choose to be automatons who don't live, because that doesn't serve even God. That doesn't even serve God, being that dead. Anyway, that was just a quick little lecture, and I hope it served somebody. That is all. Bye.